trending joint pain. Prolonged medication, steroids, then surgery, possibly another surgery.
So a lot of our patients are trying to avoid or put off surgery, and this is the treatment that can help them do that.
QC Kinetics extracts your body's healing substances, concentrates them back into your aching joints.
Hey, welcome in. Always frazzled when I get ready to go on the air, just a few minutes away from going on the air. So welcome in. Short week, Easter week, awesome week. My daughters are coming home. Can't wait for that. And can't wait to share with you all we have to talk about today. So hunker in. We're just about ready to get started here on a Monday edition of the Bruce Hooley Show. Thanks for joining us. Oh.
4544.
Nice to have you with us as we begin a new week of Bruce Hooley Shows. A short week, 4-day week for us this week. Of course, Good Friday is coming up. It's Easter week. It's Holy Week. We're glad to have you with us, and we'll focus a lot on the message of Easter this week. And we will inundate you with the latest headlines. We have some interesting things going on with the Trump administration. They've won their effort to deport Mahmoud Khalil, the Colombia Hamas terrorist sympathizer. We'll update you on that. Bill Maher dishes on his visit to the White House with Donald Trump. That was interesting. That might take a whole segment. Liberals won't like what Bill Maher had to say. I thought it was very interesting, and certainly what I know to be true about Donald Trump. We had Blue Origin, the Jeff Bezos rocket company, fire off an all-female crew into space this morning, and they have already returned safely, an 11-minute space flight. There's something I find really curious about that particular flight. Curious and snarky, I will admit. But let's start with the ongoing continued attack on school vouchers in the state of Ohio. The public school people do not like school vouchers. And this is not all public school people, because here we go. I always have to give the disclaimer when I talk about public schools that I'm not talking about my public school district. We're not afraid. You know why we're not afraid? Because we do a great job. That's why we do a great job. We don't have charter schools coming into our district trying to start. We don't have private schools coming into our district trying to start up. You know why we don't? Because we don't have a bunch of dissatisfied parents. We don't have dissatisfied parents. Why? Because we're doing a great job educating our students and stewarding our tax dollars. And for the latter part, by the way, the Republicans in the state legislature would love to penalize us for doing that. I've talked about that some. I'll probably talk about it more because it really frosts my pumpkin that they want to lower property tax dollars in the districts of those schools who carry over a cash balance that might on a balance sheet appear to be hefty. But if you ask a question, which heaven forbid, Matt Huffman, Speaker of the House, asks a question of a school district, hey, why are you carrying over a 30% cash balance, 30% of your previous year's budget? Oh, because we got 6 housing developments under construction in our district, and we might have to build a new school. We might have to buy land, or, oh, our roofs are in need of repair, or, oh, we get more students, we need to buy more buses. Hello, Matt Huffman. But I digress. Back to school vouchers. My district does not fear school vouchers, but boy, a lot of districts fear school vouchers. And you know what? It always turns out that it is the big city and ever-growing suburban districts that hate school vouchers. Columbus City Schools, Cincinnati Public Schools, Cleveland Public Schools, and Olentangy schools and other districts that are bursting at the seams. But the Ohio legislature 2 years ago approved school vouchers and raised the income limits on them. The first time we applied for a school voucher, we were just over, as a family, the income level. And then the state realized, 130% of the poverty level for a family of 4, that's not very much money. Maybe we ought to expand that. And so they did to 450% of the poverty level. Now, if you think that was too liberal, too excessive, 450% of the poverty level for a family of 4 is $145,000. So if you as a family, mom and dad together, make less than $145,000 and you have 2 kids, you can get the full Ed Choice Scholarship. What is the full Ed Choice Scholarship? Is it $50,000? No, it's not. It's $6,166 for grades K through 8, which I suppose there probably are private schools that charge that little, but not the private schools my kids attend. My child attends. My other 2 are already in college, and they attend. And you go, wait a minute, you serve on a public school board and your kid's in a private school? Yes, because COVID, right? COVID came. My kids didn't want to be masked up in the public school, which was not the public school's fault. It was the fault of the local health department. Remember how they played fast and loose with their authority and imposed stuff on every student? Wear that mask 6 feet apart. I don't care if the kid's crying in 2nd grade. Wear that mask, which we later found out was a complete and utter waste of our time and effort. So if you're in K through 8, you get, and then my kids didn't want to go back and be the new kid again at another school. They were the new kid when they went to private school because they weren't made to mask up. Then they went back, they didn't want to go back to the public school, even though I'd like for them to, honestly. But $6,166 for grades K through 8. $8,408 for grades 9 through 12. That's the full Ed Choice Scholarship. Now, if you're below a certain income level, that's all the private school can get. Like if you're under the old limits, 130 grand or 70 grand, I'm sorry, 70 grand, then that's all the private school can get. But if you're between the two, you got to pay the difference as a family, which is still a significant hit. Now, what the educational people are steamed about, what the teachers unions, what the Scott DeMaros of the world are upset about, Ohio Education Association, American Federation of Teachers, what they're upset about is that families making a pretty good income still qualify for a scholarship of some sort, but it's a very limited amount. Like, for instance, some high-income families get $617 for K through 8 and $804 for grades 9 through 12. Well, as you can imagine, this has exploded in growth in the giving out of scholarships over the years. $439 million scheduled to be distributed this year, which would add up to about $1 billion over the next 2 years. Now, who's against this? Who's against this? Okay, I told you. The big city school districts, the underperforming school districts. Why are they against it? Because the parents in those districts want to get their kids out of underperforming districts, right? They want to get them, oh, wait a minute, I can get some money and offset most of the bill to go to Watterson, DeSales, Hartley, Worthington Christian, Northside Christian, Delaware Christian, Shekinah Christian, on and on and on. You mean I can get some help with that? Yes, you can. Now, I left out a great school, Columbus Classical Academy, because they don't take state funding. But now there's a move afoot to expand it so that private, non-chartered schools that are currently not eligible for vouchers would be eligible for vouchers. I've been to Columbus Classical Academy. Their morning assembly, man, if you're a patriot, it's unbelievable. Like these children in that school, the patriotism, the knowledge, the comfort they have speaking to adults, it's amazing. There are kids in public schools who can do that. There are. My point is there's no one right answer for everyone. And who, Bruce, who should have the authority to decide how their children are educated? Oh. Well, my answers are always grounded in biblical truth. So God put the parents in charge of the kids. So, you know, when it comes to matters of education, I'd put the parents in charge of that decision as well. But this does not sit well with opponents like Jeffrey Talbert, who is the superintendent of Canton City Schools. Jeffrey Talbert says, as a district in a high poverty area, asking our families to replace funds being diverted to low-performing non-public schools, those don't exist, by the way. Low-performing non-public, they don't exist. Jeffrey says, is not only unjust, it is unconstitutional. So thanks to our friend Keith Faber, the auditor of the state of Ohio, there is a helpful little tool. Jeff, could you get that thing off the screen so I can see how much time I have left in my segment? Thank you. There is a helpful little tool on the auditor's website that will give you every school district in the state of Ohio and tell you how much it spends per pupil and where it ranks in terms of its performance in an array of key areas. And so I looked up Canton local schools, and what do you know? They spend $13,300 per student, which is above the average in Ohio. And they rank 484th out of 690 some schools in Ohio. Jeffrey perhaps is obsessed with underperforming schools because he heads one. And I ask, is it unconstitutional for parents in Canton to be made to send their kids to Jeffrey Talbot's schools in Canton where they get a rotten education? I think that's more unconstitutional than giving parents a choice of where they want to send their kids to schools. So this opposition continues. They are suing the state of Ohio. I certainly hope, and I think I'm reasonably assured, that this lawsuit will not succeed because we have a conservative majority on the Ohio Supreme Court. And I have no doubt that they'll probably win in some woke lower court district and probably get a common pleas court judge somewhere or a district court judge somewhere to tell them that you don't have to perform. We'll just keep the money train rolling. But eventually, the public voucher people will win.
Cloudy, breezy with a couple of showers and a heavy thunderstorm. Could bring hail and damaging winds with I-71. Breezy this evening with a shower early, otherwise clouds breaking with low 45. Considerably cloudy tomorrow with a passing shower. Windy and much colder with a high 49. Breezy tomorrow evening, partly cloudy and chilly with freezing temps in the normally colder spots with a low 36. I'm Ruth O'Brien on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
You heard me talk about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too with their 3-week quick start kit for only $19.95, less than $1 a day. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. Visit relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF, 800-4RELIEF for Relief Factor.
Healthcare is complicated. It doesn't have to be. If you don't love how your health insurance works, maybe it's time to leave traditional health insurance behind. Take charge of your healthcare with Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM offers you flexibility. Enroll anytime, choose your own provider, and select the program that fits your needs and budget. CHM is the original faith-based way of taking care of your medical bill costs. Learn more at chministries.org/wellness.
Quick question. Did you know that the conservative news and talk content that you're currently enjoying on this station and online is supported by advertisers? Here's another one for you. And this one is for our business audience. Are you aware that our loyal listeners eagerly engage with our advertisers because they know that these advertisers share their values and care about our programming as much as they do? Listeners, tell your favorite businesses about us. And business owners, contact us today to create and implement strategies that drive people to connect and engage with you, helping you grow and experience the value of long-term loyal customers. Join with us today to continue spreading the good word.
To learn how to reach our audience with your business's message and support this station, contact Carolyn Cassidy at 614-318-0401 or click on the Advertise With Us banner at 989theanswer.com. That's 989theanswer.com.
Has the recent storms impacted your house? The Metal Roof Company not only specializes in working with your insurance company, but also specializes in all trades on the outside of your home. Roofing, siding, soffit, fascia, gutters, windows, and in some cases, we can install a metal roof for the same price as a shingle roof. So remember, folks, don't settle, buy metal. Call 614-721-ROOF or reach out to us on the web at themetalroofcompany.com.
before you list with someone else. Call Ross Realtors. Ross Realtors will sell your home. It won't be listed long. Low listing fees, put your mind at ease. Tell me, how could you go wrong? Before you list with someone else, call Ross Realtors.
Are you thinking about selling your house and need help getting it ready? Hi, this is Ross DiGiorgio of Ross Realtors. I will buy your house for cash. What? That's right, I'll buy your house for cash, as is and where is. That means no inspections, no financing, take what you want and leave the rest. Call Ross Realtors 614-599-6100. So don't worry about all those people calling you, asking if you want to sell your house, or all those postcards you receive in the mail. Call Ross Realtors 614-599-6100. That's 614-599-6100. Cash for your home.
Before you list with someone else, call Ross Realtors.
Hey, gas prices are coming down, but gas still costs a lot of money. It always has, and it's a big part of your budget. So are your groceries. How would you like some help with that? Well, we are here to help at 989 The Answer. We have the gas and groceries giveaway sweepstakes, which includes a grand prize of $2,500 in gift cards for gas and groceries. Now, we're not limiting it just to the grand prize winner. 2 other winners will receive $500 in gift cards for gas and groceries. You can enter once each day between now and April the 28th, and you can also complete optional entries every day, which will increase your chances of winning. So get some relief from those high gas and grocery prices, although not as high as they were under Joe Biden. Enter the gas. Now, you got plenty of grass. It's growing fine. The rain's coming more this afternoon. The gas and groceries giveaway sweepstakes 2025, open for your entry at 989 The Answer. Former Columbus police officer Adam Coy, convicted in the shooting death of Andre Hill on December the 22nd, 2020, is back in court today. He is seeking a new trial. He should get it, and I will tell you why at 11:35. But another odd inconsistency in the argument by those in the education realm. I find this very interesting. I find it ironic even. You know that I dealt in the opening with the school voucher program for high school students, and the teachers unions and the big city and suburban district superintendents are against school vouchers because they say they do not go to the people who they were designed to go to, which they say are the poor inner city kids. Well, Governor Mike DeWine makes the point that even if you are someone who is middle class, upper middle class, or even super upper class, you still pay property taxes to fund local public schools. He says all these people are paying some taxes. Some are paying more than others. I don't have a problem with school vouchers being used by middle class families or even upper middle class families. They're paying state tax. They're paying local property tax. They ought to be able to get some benefit from the amount of money that they're giving into the education system. Yes, that is true. Nevertheless, the superintendents, like the guy in Canton, whose school ranks, what did I say it was again? Oh, that's right, 484th out of almost 700 public schools in Ohio. He says, you know, as a district in a high poverty area, asking our families to replace funds being diverted to low performing non-public schools. Hey, Jeffrey Talbert, superintendent of Canton City Schools. How about we do this? How about we compare your reading and math scores in Canton City Schools to the reading and math scores of any private Christian parochial or charter school? How about we do that? Because you would lose that battle big time. Now, when I say inconsistency and oddity, I also notice, well, this story gets a lot of pub today, and it has 4 bylines on it in the Columbus Dispatch. There's another story, another little story about education, not public school education, but college education. And it's by one person, Jesse Balmert. And, you know, the obvious viewpoint of the libs, the left, the teachers unions, I repeat myself, is that public school good, private school bad, right? Public school good, private school bad. Well, stay awake now, because once a child graduates from high school, I want you to be aware that private schools become really good. How do I know this? Because Senate Bill 1, which just passed into law, stipulated that public universities in the state of Ohio, like your Ohio State, Cincinnati, Cleveland State, University of Akron, Kent State, Miami, those schools can't do wokeness anymore. They can't do DEI anymore. And if they do, then they're going to lose funding. Okay? But the private schools were not covered by Senate Bill 1. But now, Mike DeWine wants the private schools who continue to persist in their DEI nonsense, which is not against the law. They can do it. They're super committed to it, right? It's a good thing. The only penalty for that is that the governor's merit scholarships, which are awarded to students in the top 5% of their class, Governor DeWine says, well, now those can only go to kids who go to public schools. And guess who's screaming? That's right. The private schools are screaming. And the Association of Independent Colleges and Universities of Ohio, longer the title, the dumber the people, which represents 50 private higher education institutions, are condemning the new strings attached to the scholarships. AICUO is disappointed that the leadership in the Ohio General Assembly is telling Ohio's best and brightest students, wait a minute, are you telling me that somebody who speaks for a private college in Ohio is saying that the students who go to their colleges are the best and the brightest? Could you say that about Ohio high school students who go to private schools? No, you couldn't say that, because that would be racist. That would be racist to say that. And I wouldn't say that, because there are a lot of super bright kids who go to public schools in Ohio. A ton of bright kids go to public schools in Ohio. But it's okay in college for the egghead academics to overlook the fact that they want to reverse their opposition on the high school level to the college level. Representative Tom Young, a Republican majority, knew that because he's on the right side of this issue, says private universities that want taxpayer-funded scholarship money should have to follow Ohio's new law. What? You mean, Tom, you crazy Republican conservative, you want the law to apply to everyone? You mean just like, say, for instance, if you live on a public street or you live behind a fence in a gated community, Ohio law is the same for both? You mean like that? Yeah, that's what he means. He says, when you're getting state dollars, you fall under the same laws as anybody else does. Tom, how far, Tom, do you think you're going to get in politics talking common sense? Well, a long way in the Republican Party, but you'd be dead to Democrats. So I just find this very interesting, very, very interesting that in the high school level, the private schools getting money from the state is super evil, right? We got the superintendents really mad about it. Not fair, racist. But magically, once the kid puts on a mortarboard, walks across the stage, and gets his diploma, the state scholarship that he would win for being in the top 5% of his class, now they have, the libs, no problem with him getting that money and taking it to a private school. And in fact, if you try to say, no, you can't do that because they're woke and they're advancing DEI, oh, wait a second. No. Private schools, good. Public universities, subject to Senate Bill 1. Those are the bad places. We need all you over here at we need that money at Oberlin. We need that money at Denison. We need that money in as woke a place as we can find it. Yeah, sure you do. So there you go. That's your update on Ohio education.
SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. Police say the man who broke into the Pennsylvania governor's mansion in Harrisburg and set a fire early yesterday morning harbors a strong hatred of Governor Josh Shapiro, although it's not clear exactly why. A 38-year-old Harrisburg man is under arrest. Although he has exempted electronics from 145% China tariffs, President Trump says additional levies are on the way for semiconductors and computer chips. Talks between Iran and the U.S. over Tehran's advancing nuclear program may leave the Middle East. An Italian source says the next round will take place in Rome. And Hungary has adopted a constitutional amendment banning LGBTQ plus events in public. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 209 points, and NASDAQ ahead 111 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. I've been thinking, why does it feel like losing weight is harder than ever before? With mixed messages, fad diets, the quick fix injections, even magic coffee. I mean, it's overwhelming. Most people are exhausted trying to fight a battle they cannot win. If you feel this way, trust me, you're not alone. I used to feel that way too. But let me tell you, it's not your fault. Your body is working against you, and the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Do what I did. I called PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition 3 years ago. I lost 53 pounds. I feel terrific, and I've kept the weight off. Make the phone call that can change your life the way it has changed mine. They won't let you fail. Call 855-696-2020. That's 855-696-2020 to schedule your consultation. The first 11 callers who mentioned the word healthy will get 2 free weeks added to their weight loss package. Call now, 855-696-2020. Mention the keyword healthy to get 2 free weeks. Or visit them at myphdweightloss.com. MyPhD
News, opinion, passion. Here, 98.9 FM, The Answer, anywhere you go. With The Answer's mobile app at 98.9theanswer.com. Also on your smart speakers, TuneIn, or iHeart.
I don't walk up to somebody and say, hey, my name's Chief. I thought health into mental health system. It's not natural to do that. But when you see somebody struggling and they give you this, oh, you don't know what I'm going through, then that's when you pull out that ace and you say, yes, I do know what you're going through.
It takes courage to ask for help. An anonymous self-assessment is available online. Take the first step to healing. Visit militarymentalhealth.org or call 877-877-3647.
You made it through another nasty Ohio winter, but let's be honest, there's something in your home that, well, kind of struggled through it. Yeah, it's your furnace. But the good news is you can get a jump on next year's winter now by getting a Goodman furnace from Temperature Pro for $1,900 from our discount shopping club. The regular price is $3,800. Temperature Pro is a leader in commercial and residential HVAC services. Get all the details at 989theanswer.com or by calling RMAT at 614-216-5049.
Salem News Channel is America's fastest growing conservative TV network.
It's an absolute crazy day.
Home to the largest lineup of free speech champions anywhere. Delivering in-depth insight and unapologetic opinion on today's biggest news stories.
Americans aren't going to put up with this anymore.
SNC brings you the news that matters, told with integrity and clarity. Watch Salem News Channel free, 24/7 on your television. Stream now on Zumo Play.
He's a constitutional law professor. He's appeared on every major news network, and he's proud to call himself a Buckeye. He's Hugh Hewitt, weekday afternoons from 3 to 5 on your station for news, opinion, and passion. 98.9 FM, The Answer.
I'm headed to Upper Arlington tonight. I have a lady's new condo that I'm going to measure for new carpet. Very appreciative of that. I had a wonderful weekend chatting with Mark and Melissa from Lancaster. They're doing a big home remodel, and I met the daughter of previous clients. They are wonderful, wonderful people. And so I'd love to help you too. If you are looking for a flooring project, remodel, new carpet, change carpet from carpet to luxury vinyl plank flooring that looks like wood, comes in many different colors and styles, and we even have it that looks like marble. You'd never know the difference, except that this is waterproof and will have a finish on it that won't allow you to slip and slide and hurt yourself. So go to brucehooley.com and click flooring. Find out how I can get your product in faster, save you money, and get it installed to exacting specifications. We have our very own installers, 2 crews. They're phenomenal. We get a lot of compliments on them. And I would love to do business with you and meet you. BruceHooley.com. Flooring, BruceHooley.com. Click flooring. So former Columbus police officer Adam Coy has been in the Franklin County Jail since his November conviction for, these are the charges: murder, it's not me talking, murder, felonious assault, reckless homicide in connection with the December 22nd, 2020 shooting death of 47-year-old Andre Hill, who's unarmed. And not that this has anything to do with it, but we all know that it does have something to do with it. Andre Hill is African-American. Now, I did not take a position on this case when it was going on because I'm not an expert in police use of force. Andre Hill was unarmed. Andre Hill did have something in his hand. I never got any details on what the interactions were between Andre Hill and the police officer. I don't know if they were contentious or not. But Adam Coy always contended that he thought Andre Hill had a weapon in his hand. It turned out to be a keyring. So the people in city government decided that it would be a great idea to give Andre Hill's family $10 million, which is, by the way, not enough if Andre Hill, a father, a grandfather, was shot unjustifiably. But they gave his family the $10 million before Adam Coy went to trial, which of course is highly prejudicial. So the settlement was the largest in the city's history. The city has a habit of doing this. They've done it with Casey Goodson. We don't have a final verdict in that case. The trial of Jason Meade resulted in a hung jury, 6-6. Okay, so the city loves to pay off people with a case to make about an unjustifiable shooting of a loved one. I believe that a city should wait until an officer is found guilty, culpable, responsible. But I'm not stupid like the people at City Hall. So Adam Coy is back in court today, and he is asking for a new trial. Why is he asking for a new trial? Because, as we told you before, we even interviewed the police use of force expert. His name is Jamie Borden. He's from Las Vegas, Nevada. Jamie Borden was one of two, at least two, I should say, police use of force experts consulted by the prosecution in the case. And the prosecution chose to use the one police use of force expert who agreed with the prosecution's portrayal of events, which was that Adam Coy shot Andre Hill unjustifiably. That's fine. A prosecution can use whatever expert they want to use, but they are required by law to tell the defense, we consulted this expert and this expert had a different opinion. They didn't do that. They didn't do that. You can draw your own conclusion about why they did not want conflicting testimony from two different police use of force experts, because this was a case decided by what? Reasonable doubt. Is there reasonable doubt? Reasonable doubt that Adam Coy was justified in firing his weapon and very unfortunately killing Andre Hill? Well, let's just say it this way. You have a better chance of introducing reasonable doubt if the jury hears from a prosecution witness who says, yeah, the shooting was justified. And again, we had Jamie Borden on the show, and he said exactly that in his estimation, Andre Hill was very unfortunately, his life was ended by a shooting that, while tragic and while awful, was in Jamie Borden's estimation justified according to the rules of engagement for a police officer. So that's why Adam Coy is asking for a new trial. Will he get it? I'll say he should. But do I think he'll get it? Franklin County Common Pleas Court, what do you think? We'll see. Maybe we'll get a ruling today. Maybe we won't. Now, we do have a ruling in the case of the terrorist Hamas sympathizer Mahmoud Khalil. Mahmoud Khalil, Columbia University. He's married to an American citizen. He's always the guy who's lurking around on the edges of a protest and violence and breaking into Hamilton Hall and windows getting broken. But he's always the guy who goes, oh, look, my hands are clean. I'm just here organizing. I'm just here observing. I'm just here watching. Not me. I didn't stoke it. Well, now Mahmoud Khalil, who was arrested and shipped to Texas and has been begging that he's just a victim of the Trump's overzealous deportation efforts, Mahmoud Khalil has lost his case. And an immigration judge says, is okay to be deported. And this, of course, is not exactly what the people who hate Donald Trump and hate the effort to get illegals out of the country wanted. But here's Piers Morgan talking some sense about what would have happened if Mahmoud Khalil had been truthful when he applied for his green card in the first place.
What about if he had said all this at his green card interview? Would he have got a green card? No. No. If he said, I support a prescribed terror group in the United States, you're not coming in on a green card. All Marco Rubio is doing, it seems to me, is taking it back to that scenario and saying, well, if you'd been honest then, and by the way, he was dishonest on his green card application about other stuff, which is another part of the equation, which might in itself disqualify him from staying in the country. But the idea that he would have said, I support Hamas, I support a global intifada, I support the destruction of Western civilization. Now give me a green card to come and live in America. Off.
All right, out there in the air.
That was Bill Maher in the background. You're going to hear more from Bill Maher in hour number 2. Bill Maher talking about his visit to the White House with Donald Trump. It's really good stuff. It's interesting. Here is Douglas Murray talking about Mahmoud Khalil and the decision by the immigration judge to say, yeah, ship him on back. We don't care if he goes to Syria. We don't care if he goes to Oman. We don't care if he goes to Dubai. Just bye-bye, Mahmoud Khalil.
This is not about the First Amendment's rights of an American citizen. This is about somebody coming to America who used his time in America to campaign and wage war against America.
Yeah, we got to get to the point in this country because we got a lot of people here who hate us. We got a lot of students here who we don't have any idea if they're double agents from American enemies. The case has been made, and will continue to be made, that Mahmoud Khalil is entitled to due process, that he didn't get due process. They didn't arrest him, take him to court. They arrested him. They shipped him off to Texas right away, where now his case will be heard where he's detained in Texas because they didn't want him. They didn't want the case heard in New York. What are the chances in New York where Letitia James and Alvin Bragg get elected by overwhelming margins? What are the chances Mahmoud Khalil would be deported by a New York judge? Zero chance. Zero. A point that Trey Gowdy makes while noting that due process is a great thing. We should give due process. We're going to give all the illegals that we grab from now on and send them off to El Salvador before they get their white Crocs and their head shaved and everything else. They're going to get due process. They're just not quite entitled to the same due process as someone who was born in America and is a naturalized citizen.
There's a sliding scale. So American citizens get this much due process. People who are here unlawfully get this much due process. So the phrase due process doesn't really tell us a lot. It's a sliding scale, but it's not lost on me that Khalil supports a group. Do you think they gave a jury trial to the Jews before they beheaded them? You think there are appeals for the hostages being held in Gaza right now? So for someone who had the privilege of living and studying in this country to support a group that doesn't believe in any due process or any appeals for innocent victims is just a little too rich for me. Marco has the power to say you are undermining our foreign policy, and guess what? You don't have a fundamental right to stay in this country. So we don't care whether you go back to Syria or Algeria. You can go to Gaza, what's left of it, but you're not staying here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want our justice system to be the same for our citizens as Hamas treats the Jews that it grabbed violating a ceasefire and going across the border into Israel on October 7th. None of us want that. But also, you cannot come here and defend those actions and then hide behind the blindness, the equality of American justice. I mean, you just can't do that.
For this afternoon, considerably cloudy, breezy with a couple of showers and a heavy thunderstorm. Could bring hail and damaging winds with I-71. Breezy this evening with a shower early, otherwise clouds breaking with low 45. Considerably cloudy tomorrow with a passing shower, windy and much colder with a high 49. Breezy tomorrow evening, partly cloudy and chilly with freezing temps in the normally colder spots with low 36. I'm Ruth O'Brien on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at tra.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for...
So much more. There's the loose beef sandwich, their famous burrito wraps, Dad's cheeseburger and son of cheeseburger, fish and chicken sandwiches, even a veggie dog. But wait, there is more. You just have to stop by for lunch or dinner. Dad's Conies and Wraps in the Graceland Shopping Center. Order online at dadsconiesandwraps.com. And as they like to say, we're not fast food. We are fresh food made as fast as we can.
While Dennis Prager is recuperating, we know you miss your daily dose of Dennis. That's why Pragertopia is giving you a special gift. Right now, Pragertopia members can hear the best 2 hours of Dennis's favorite segments from as far back as 2010. On Monday, you can hear the Happiness Hour.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what I'm about.
Tuesday is Celebrity Guest Day.
Donald Trump Jr. is in studio with me.
On Wednesday, it's the Male-Female Hour.
I really do wish there were a way to ascertain the number of marriages that this hour has helped.
Thursday, the Ultimate Issues Hour.
Not having ultimate issues clarity is like having a map, but you don't know where you're going.
And Friday is Open Lines.
Feel free to ask me anything about me, about you, about life.
So if you're missing your daily dose of Dennis, go to Pragertopia.com and hear all your favorite segments, along with lectures, celebrity interviews, his famous Torah teachings, and more. Get your daily dose of Dennis at Pragertopia.com. Pragertopia.com.
Ian Ralston was a combat medic who suffered a catastrophic war injury in Iraq. When I met Ian for the first time, I knew we had to do everything we could to get him every benefit he's earned to live as normal life as possible. And we did. He needed an accessible house. We got that grant. And a van for his wheelchair to get him there. My name is Jason Stevenson, and I work for Paralyzed Veterans of America.
America's most seriously injured veterans are getting all the care and benefits they've earned, thanks to Paralyzed Veterans of America. For over 65 years, Paralyzed Veterans of America has helped hundreds of thousands of veterans, and their service is free to all veterans and their families. Paralyzed Veterans of America, changing lives, building futures. To learn more, visit pva.org. A public service message from Paralyzed Veterans of America.
Discount Shopping Club at 989theanswer.com affords you the opportunity to save money and get great stuff at half off. High efficiency air conditioners from Temperature Pro Columbus. And you thought I was going to talk about furnaces. No. Summer's coming. Well, not necessarily today. It's going to rain and get super windy, but summer is coming and hot weather will come. And if your air conditioner was overworked, well, as your trusted, locally owned HVAC experts, Temperature Pro Columbus is happy to offer you the opportunity to upgrade your home's cooling system and enjoy reliable comfort all day long. A 3-ton 14 SEER 2 air conditioner. I'm sure that means something to someone in the HVAC industry. You know what it means to me? It means that if you're hot in your house and your AC doesn't work, Temperature Pro Columbus can fix it for you with a brand new air conditioner. So check that out in the Discount Shopping Club at 989theanswer.com by clicking on shopping and then navigating your way. We have seen since October the 7th a proliferation of anti-Semitism in America. It is really gut-wrenching. It's horrible. It's awful. I don't know how it could possibly be flourishing in America. I don't know how we could possibly ever forget the horrific lessons of World War II and the genocide against the Jews, and 6 million of them exterminated by Adolf Hitler and the Axis powers. But we apparently have not only forgotten it, but we have romanticized it on college campuses where smart people are supposed to proliferate. And it has poisoned the minds of many. And we saw that play out in real time over the weekend when an anti-Semitic kook broke into the mansion, the governor's mansion, the home of Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. Now, look, I don't share Josh Shapiro's politics, but as I have said many times, if you are a Christian and you are not on the side of Israel, you are on the wrong side. And this white supremacist, his name is Cody Balmer, scaled a fence, broke into Josh Shapiro's home, set fire to it, did considerable damage to it in an effort to kill the governor, his wife, and their children. Cody Balmer was found the next day. He has been charged with attempted murder, terrorism, aggravated arson, and aggravated assault. He could also face federal charges. Josh Shapiro came out and I thought very eloquently addressed this issue in front of the home where he resides, which is very clearly fire damaged. Here is what Josh Shapiro had to say.
No one will deter me or my family or any Pennsylvanian from celebrating their faith openly and proudly.
We have freedom of religion in this country. And while you can disagree with certain faiths, you cannot visit violence upon someone who disagrees with you in terms of their faith. Josh Shapiro, if he sounded choked up there, he was choked up. His wife's name is Gloria. He said, Gloria and I are overwhelmed by the prayers and the messages of support that we receive from all across Pennsylvania and all across the United States. We've heard from our fellow governors and first spouses. We've heard from several of the former governors of Pennsylvania. We've heard from so many friends and loved ones. And we've heard from so many caring citizens of this great Commonwealth. And then he said, I want you to know your prayers lift us up. And in this moment of darkness, we are choosing to see light. We appreciate the light that you have shined on us. Now, this kind of hatred, which is encouraged, fomented, and exaggerated in various aspects of society, most troubling on our college campuses where people who are supposed to be academically enlightened and open to new ideas and more tolerant of such is not just limited to Jewish citizens being the target of its ire. In Wisconsin, they have arrested a teenager, a 17-year-old, charged him with the murder of his parents. And why did he murder his parents? According to authorities, it was to, quote, obtain the financial means to assassinate President Trump and overthrow the United States government. Maybe in the movies, kid, this kind of nonsense can happen. But guess what? You're 17. You're 8 years from your brain being fully developed, which might explain your actions, by the way. You are not going to overthrow the United States government. We are stronger than that, although it would certainly wreak havoc in our country if Donald Trump is assassinated. Why? Because idiots would cheer it, as they did the attempted assassination of President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, and at his golf club in Palm Beach, Florida. This kid murdered his mom and dad, hid their corpses, stole $10,000, misused their ID to steal more money because he was found fleeing with $14,000 in cash after the stench of the decomposing bodies in the home was detected by authorities. He had purchased a drone and explosives in an attempt to, I assume, either kill President Trump or blow up his airplane. They found him with a manifesto praising Adolf Hitler. And here is a quote from the quote-unquote manifesto. As to why specifically Trump, I think it's obvious. By getting rid of the president and perhaps the vice president, that is guaranteed to bring in some chaos. And not only that, but it will further bring the public around to the idea that assassinations are accelerating the collapse of America. He called for the killing of politicians and billionaires who are Jewish. And he was a heavy user of TikTok and Telegram. Of course he was. So many young people are radicalized by social media. He had been in touch with a person who speaks Russian and had a plan to flee to Ukraine and live in Ukraine after he carried out this assassination. Man, oh man, this is just, it's you can compartmentalize this as saying it is the random, deranged ramblings of one teenager. But I think it is more than that. And eventually, as these attempts proliferate, as this mindset is encouraged by people who are purportedly sane, and I'll have more on this in Today in Crazy at 12:20, it's just inarguable that the more attempts or plots like this, the greater number of them eventually, perhaps not, but it certainly raises the odds that one of them will succeed. And so thankfully, I had no confidence that the Biden Justice Department really cared about any of these things. I think they took an ends justifies the means approach. They were willing to do anything they could, and they did do anything they could to try to remove Donald Trump from the political sphere, whether it's keeping him off the ballot or trying to prosecute him for crimes real or mostly imagined, changing laws to extend the statute of limitations so they could imprison him, to defeat a movement where people don't want illegals in the country, want crime reduced, want wars to stop. I mean, there's a mind virus out there, and we all know where it comes from. It doesn't just come, you say, I don't know, it comes from the left. No, it comes from a much darker place than that, okay? There's good and evil in the world, and anyone who would view the murder of another person as something that could be, oh, it's unfortunate, yeah, but for the greater good, anyone like that? Are they called out and exorcised from polite society? No, they're not. They have TV shows. They have national platforms.
Financing a home, especially in today's market, is one of the biggest decisions you'll make for your family. Work with a mortgage company that puts you first. I do. Work with a lender founded on biblical principles like do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. I do. Mike Gallagher for the only mortgage company I've used for almost a decade now in financing or refinancing fellowship home loans. I'm friends with the owners, Mike and Brian. I even have them on my show occasionally. I know the care their team puts into every